A political battle has erupted between the government and the opposition over the appointment of former Supreme Court Judge Justice Abdul Nazeer to the post of governor. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Our focus on the broadcast this evening is on the appointment of governors. Among them is Justice Nazeer. Justice Nazeer has been part of several landmark judgments, among them the Ayodhya judgment, which was, of course, a unanimous judgment, the demonetization judgment, and the triple talaq verdict, where he incidentally had a dissenting opinion. The Congress is arguing that the elevation of Justice Nazeer to the post of governor is a threat to the independence of the judiciary. In fact, they have pulled out an old speech of former BJP leader and Minister Arun Jaitley to make their argument. Law Minister Kiran Rijiju is saying that the ecosystem, quote unquote, is at it again, that India will no longer be treated as the personal fiefdom of one particular party. On the program today, we look at the politics around this decision by the government to appoint Justice Nazeer, who has come up, by the way, from extremely humble beginnings and has been praised fulsomely by the present Chief Justice, Justice Chandrachud. The politics around it, however, are refusing to die down. Let's introduce our panel on the program today as we look at the government's decision to appoint Justice Nazeer as a governor, in this case of Andhra Pradesh. Joining us on the program today is Premila Nesargi. She's a senior leader of the BJP as well as a well-known lawyer. Also joining us on the program today is lawyer and commentator Ashutosh Srivastava. It's good to see you, Ashutosh ji. Namaskar. Also joining us is Aseem Pandya. Mr. Pandya is a senior lawyer and he's, of course, based out of Gujarat. It's good to see you, sir. And finally joining us is Sanjay Jha, who has, I don't know, I always struggle with introducing Sanjay Jha, a Congress supporter, once upon a time a Congress spokesperson, has differences with his party but continues to support it. So good to see all of you as well. Now, let me actually get first comments from everybody on this appointment. Premila ji, I'll start with you. You've seen the opposition criticism. How do you respond to it?
It's very unfortunate. They have no other thing, They just want to object for whatever the government does. Look here, they want to comment about the elevation of Justice Nazeer as a governor. Why? Why should they worry about it? He is a known person. So far in the Karnataka is concerned, he had earned his name. He was elevated to Supreme Court. He was a part and parcel of the various judgments. Now they are insulting not only Justice Nazeer, but other judges who had participated in the other judgments like Ayodhya and other things. Why should they? Do they mean to say that all these judges are amenable? Definitely not. Once they are elevated, they do their work honestly, and especially Justice Nazeer is known for his integrity. A right on person. In Bangalore, when he was a High Court judge, I had occasion to appear before him. I knew him so well, but you will be surprised to know that this stay sites litigation which came up for BDA, it was Mr. Nazeer who took up the cause, and he made an order that the stay sites could not be given to the politicians. Who else has done? Such a great man. And I do not know why these people are curbing about it. Do they mean to say they want to insult because a minority person has been elevated? Do they want to insult because he is a part and parcel of the other various important judgments? I can't really understand. Every minute of a good person is to be used by the society. I wish on the day of the retirement itself, he could have been elevated and he could have been used. Now he is there and he will be impartial and he's known for his integrity. I can't really understand any comment by any one of the persons in either here or anywhere else. Congress has no other business. When we elevate some person, they comment.
Let me open up your comments. And in fact, the sun is drowning you out. So we request you to lean forward a little bit so we can see you properly, but we can certainly hear you properly. And you say, what is the Congress even cribbing about? What is the opposition even cribbing about? So let me take that straight to Sanjay Jha before I come to the lawyers, as it were, on this panel. Sanjay Jha, do go ahead.
Barkha, the first thing that we need to understand is there are no sacred cows when it comes to India's institutions. And tragically, even the Supreme Court is no exception to this allegation. And who said it? Not the Congress party, not the media, not any other, vested interest. It was said by 4 judges in a press conference in Delhi, which I believe was a historic landmark occasion, where members of the collegium went public and said that India's democracy is in danger and they actually accused the entire institutional structure of the Supreme Court of actually fixing benches. Where did this come from? This came from the Supreme Court judges themselves. I think this is the context that we need to understand, because in India, we have become very subservient and subjugated to the honorable judges when they themselves have told you that we may be having feet of clay. Point number two, as a not just as a politician, as a citizen of this country, I feel appalled that the Bharatiya Janata Party, of which the distinguished lady is a part of, is brazenly destroying the credibility of what should be independent institutions.
But it is not as if judges and other constitutional figures have never been given post retirement,
I,
on the watch of the Congress.
I,
I remember most prominently an election commissioner, MS Gill, for instance. So there too there were conflicts of interest.
let me answer that.
This is not something that happens only with one party, Sanjay.
Absolutely. So let me make this point very clear. And I'm making this in a very bipartisan, agnostic way. All political parties need to realize that Indian democracy is expected to have matured. We are supposed to be evolving as a society, which means you get more transparent, a lot more professional, and to that extent, you adhere to certain constitutional principles. The Congress may have made mistakes in the past. One can cite examples of XYZ. But I think what is happening under the Bharatiya Janata Party, especially since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, is a brazen and a flagrant attempt to actually ridicule the institutions. And let me give you another example. You're talking about a judge of the Supreme Court. Barkha, do you remember the Chief Justice of India? I think his name was CJI Satasivam, who was made the governor of Kerala when he had been
It's
party
on the
to a
screen.
verdict.
It's on the
Yeah,
screen. But
there you
equally, there
are.
was justice. Equally, there
Yeah,
are other judges that go back to
yeah,
the tenures of
yeah,
other parties, and they're on your screen right now. All I'm
yeah.
saying is every government
Barkha,
does this. Every government
but
does this.
Barkha, Justice Sadasivam actually passed a verdict in Amit Shah's case on the FIR against him on the fake encounters case. So I think what you're finding in the Mr. Modi's government, everybody may be guilty, but I think the BJP takes a cake and the
Okay.
bakery for being so absolutely
Okay,
crude and vulgar in the way
before I
they're
come
doing
to
it.
the lawyers on this panel, I'll allow Premila ji a brief response, and then I actually want to play an Arun Jaitley clip before I come to Ashutosh ji and Asim Pandya ji. Premila ji, you said that you wish that Nazir Saab was elevated on the very day of his retirement. Earlier there was a suggestion of a 2-year cooling off period between a constitutional post, someone who occupies a constitutional post retiring, and any next term that they take on. Do you not think this is important? Because people will look back at the verdicts of these judges and question their neutrality, Premila ji.
I don't want to question it. I only want to say, let the law cannot be stagnant. It must be progressive. As and when the law moves about, the society moves about, depending upon the need of the society, they must be utilized. Do you mean to say that the judges must sit at home? Their talents must be wasted? It cannot be wasted. If he's a really talented man, every minute of him must be used, he or she. That is what has been done in Mr. Nazir's case. I was surprised Mr. Sanjay just was speaking about it. He is a typical congressman, though he is not no longer, even though he is suspended, he wants to
No,
support the Congress for the reasons
yes.
best known. I don't agree
Okay.
with him.
Okay.
It's not correct on his part to say that they should not be utilized. Why? Well, what is wrong with Mr.
Okay.
Dashivam?
Okay.
Did
Okay.
he do anything wrong in Kerala tournament?
Okay, I have to apologize to
You see, a governor must
I
know
have
the
to
law.
apologize to our viewers that Premila ji is drowned in darkness. I don't know where she's sitting, but we can hear her loud and clear. I want to play Arun Jaitley's clip that the opposition has pulled out, and then come to our lawyers. Listen in to the speech of Mr. Jaitley that's going viral again.
That almost everyone, barring a few notable honorable men who are an exception, wants a job after retirement, and we are lavishly creating it for them. If we don't create it, they themselves create it. I think this whole temptation of continuing to occupy a Lithian's bungalow is a very serious temptation. Because the danger is greater. The desire of a post-retirement job influences pre-retirement judgments. It's a threat to the independence of judiciary.
Now, this is not Sanjay Jha, Ms. Premila. It is your sort of revered and much loved leader. And let me get in other voices now. Asim Pandya, you have, of course, in the past written letters on behalf of the Gujarat High Court Advocates Association.
Comment on me.
1 minute, Premila ji. 1 minute. Let me get
Yeah,
the
yeah.
others in. Mr. Pandya, go ahead. Mr. Pandya, go ahead.
Yes, yes. Actually, I had written one detailed letter pointing out the problems with the post-retirement benefits that are given to the judges. I am not fully against them because they are talented people and their talent should be used. But in my personal view, the offer should be made in accordance with the seniority. Suppose on a particular day, a particular judge retires, then what are the avenues available? What are the posts vacant on that day? So he should be given that offer first. He should be given preferences. Nobody should be given any appointment out of turn, and more particularly the office of governorship. That is totally, one can understand that he is appointed as a chairman of a particular tribunal. He is appointed as a lokayukt. That also one can understand. Person can be appointed as human rights commission chairman also. Those things are okay. But then also it should be in accordance with the seniority. So if 4 judges have retired, the senior most should be given the opportunity.
But does what bother you, Mr. Pandya, the seniority or the conflict of interest that the opposition has alleged?
The conflict, see, basically you will have to strike a balance, proper balance, because these people have a great experience of remaining as an advocate for about 20 years and then 20 years as a judge. So this is a great talent which should be available to the people of India for their benefit. But I am against giving some appointment out of turn, and therefore I say that it should be in accordance with the seniority. Senior most person should be given that these are the posts available. Do you want to opt for it?
But that is a technical debate. Do you believe that judges
Yes.
of the Supreme Court should be
Right.
appointed to posts like the governor, or should be appointed to influential post-retirement posts? Yes or no, Mr. Pandya?
I don't think so that they should be appointed because it affects the judicial independence. I firmly believe it, and therefore I had written a letter that the judges are tempted to give a judgment in a particular way when they are about to retire or in the option of getting good appointment.
Okay, so you think that it can influence verdicts,
Yes,
and
yes, it can
that is
influence.
the central point that I want to take to Ashutosh Srivastav, who's also a lawyer, that the neutrality of verdicts could get impacted, says Mr. Pandya, says Mr. Jha. Premila ji disagrees. As a lawyer, what do you think, Ashutosh?
I think I don't agree with what my friend said. See, we have to first respect our constitutional chairs, our institutions, and see the way Supreme Court or any other court is an institution of this country, established by the Constitution. Similarly, being a governor or holding any such chair is also the constitutional position. Now, it is not the first time. If we go in the past, we remember that Justice Hidayatullah, he was elevated as the president of this country. Forget about being governor or anything. And we have no such, one remark against him. Considering Justice Nazeer, I have argued in his court the way he hears the matter, the way he has the skills to interpret the law and to understand the issue and to pass an order. I think that is commendable. And I feel that in our country, all these kind of talented people who have no black remark or any spot in their career should be promoted, should be given as much opportunities as much possible to make this country much better place to live. And considering a Supreme Court judge having such an immense knowledge about law and everything, what could be a better choice to be a governor?
I think you make a very interesting argument. And Justice Hidayatullah became vice president. Just to clarify that, in 1979, the graphic is on your screen. But I'm saying in 1979. No, I'm saying you raise an interesting point. The point is that once you occupy a constitutional post, then you act as per that post. That's the point I think that you're trying to make. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, complete your point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying that if somebody is holding a constitutional position, how does
Yes.
it matter if he is holding another constitutional position when there is no any black spot on his career? He has worked so well. Why shouldn't he be given some other task, some other opportunity in the interest of the country? Yes, if there is some black spot, some remark or something which has gone wrong against somebody, yes, that is something which can be interpreted or something which should be found out, or there should be some inquiry investigation, and thereupon when the person comes all clean, then he should be given the opportunity. But I think in this case, I completely agree that he is a very good choice.
Okay.
Why only as
Okay.
governor? He could have been given some better task rather.
Okay, let me briefly get Sanjay Jha, then I want to play out what Abhishek Singhvi said. Sanjay, it's like a politician becomes the speaker of the house, right? And then this, as speaker, he or she is expected to perform duties per the constitution. Or let's take UU Lalit. UU Lalit was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India, and he was used to be Amit Shah's lawyer at one point, but he was also the judge who gave bail to Teesta Setalvad. I think the point that Ashutosh is making is an interesting one, that you are required to perform as per your post.
Barkha, let's be very clear here. Number one, and a very important point that we must discuss today, is that all these gubernatorial appointments are eventually what? They are political appointments. Look at the way a governor in India functions today. You will again, somebody will come, Mr. Srivastava will come and say it happened during the Congress time. But we all know today that governors literally have become puppets in the entire political
That's not today.
ecosystem.
That's always. That's
Yeah.
always.
So I
There
preempted you by
always been
saying
political
I
appointees. They've always
preempted
been
you.
political appointees. Once again, Ashutosh, I'll give
Exactly.
you a chance. Yeah.
So that basically establishes my point, that you are that's exactly the logical point I was trying to arrive at. If you and everybody agrees that a governor is a puppet, then you're talking about a Supreme Court judge, no matter what credentials he or she has, getting appointed as a governor is subject to political manipulation. So, with due respects to the lady from the BJP, I mean, it is understandable that their entire argument is drowned in darkness, exactly as is visible on your screen. And the reason behind that is very obvious, right, Barkha? Look at the fact, okay? I remember being the formal Congress spokesperson at that point of time when the Chief Justice of India, like in the case of Mr. Sadasivam, you had Mr. Gogoi, who gave verdicts on even Rafael, by the way, and was immediately appointed as the Rajya Sabha member. So, the point that
But
you raised.
this image, this Ayodhya verdict
Mhm.
this is the image of the bench that delivered the Ayodhya verdict. It was unanimous. I just want to also underline that Justice Nazeer actually dissented in the triple talaq verdict. A lot of media today has reported that he was part of the triple talaq verdict. He actually dissented in it. But
Sure,
the bench,
sure.
Sanjay, the point I'm making is this was a unanimous verdict, right? So you can't
Mhm.
just single out Justice Gogoi in it. The current Chief Justice was also part of the bench, and
Yeah.
he's often been hailed as a kind of hero of liberals, right? So liberals often embrace him as the liberal hero of the time. So I just want to take your point very briefly to Premila ji. Premila ji, we really can't see you, so I'm really happy we can hear you. Please go ahead. Respond to what Sanjay Jha is saying, that governors are political pawns.
I don't agree with him. I also told you, what did Jaitley say, Arun Jaitley? In an exceptional case, it can be made. That is what that has been done by our government, appointing Justice Nazeer, who is an exceptionally good man. What objection they have? Do they say that it's not good? Is it their case that he does not do well in the profession? I do not want any governor to be a rubber stamp. That is why people like Nazir must be there as governors. We are coming across various governors having a fight with the present chief ministers. It will not happen with Nazir. He is a balancing person. He knows how to manage. He knows how to give solutions to all the problems of the nation. And now he is in Andhra Pradesh. I only wish he could have been made a governor in our state also. I don't know. But I
Okay,
think
okay,
many more things will wait for him. Who knows? He may
okay.
also become a
So,
president of India like Hidayatullah and others. Don't worry about him. You look at the work. not the person. Look at what was his background, what is his experience as a judge, as an advocate, as a human being. That is what has to be looked into when a governor is made. Not, it is not a political appointment. It does not belong to any
Okay, I
political
want to, I
party.
want to, I want to say, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do have to go to Mr. Pandya and Ashutosh again. But Abhishek Singhvi also today, while attacking this decision, he prefaced it by how much personal respect he had for Justice Nazir. He said it was not about the individual, it was about the principle. Listen in.
Let me answer it in two ways. First and foremost, I want to replay what you said. By you, I mean the BJP, the ruling dispensation. One of your tall leaders, sadly no more with us, on 5th of September 2013, in the House and several times outside the House said this, and I quote Mr. Jaitley, "The desire of a post-retirement job influences pre-retirement judgments." It's no answer every time we say this for you to say it has happened in the past. This has also been said in the past. Secondly, we are not talking about persons. We are not talking about individuals. Personally, I have very great respect for this person. I know him. It is not about him at all. As a matter of principle, we oppose it. As a matter of principle, we believe that this is a great diminution and a great threat to the independence of the judiciary for the reasons which I have just quoted on the excerpt which I have played out for you. And therefore, we condemn it, we oppose it, and we do not agree with it.
Okay, so Asim Pandya, Abhishek Singhvi talks about how much he respects Justice Nazir, and I just want to take 2 minutes to talk a little bit about Justice Nazir, who, I was reading today, worked as a farm hand on his uncle's farm, used to scavenge for fish, didn't know English, really came up the hard way, and therefore you saw a lot of people today expressing personal respect for him individually but objecting to the principle. Where do you stand in? Because already there is so much jhagda between the government and the collegium over the appointment of judges. This is going to add one more layer to it. Go ahead, Mr. Pandya.
Actually, I have no opportunity to appear before Justice Nazir, but what I have heard that he was an upright man and he delivered all judgments on merits. But I agree with Mr. Singhvi that it's a question of principle. Of course, during Congress regime also this has happened, and this is not a new thing which is happening for the first time. And in certain instances, you can infer quid pro quo directly. Suppose somebody referred to the judgment of Amit Anil Chandra Shah, where two fake encounters cases where he was an accused. One took place 1 year before and another took place after 1.5 years. And both these cases were heard together and they were decided to be clubbed together by a particular bench. And what in reciprocation, that is a matter of inference. I am not
But Mr.
making any
Pandya, but Mr.
insinuation or
Pandya,
attribute.
that's my point. That's my point.
Yes,
That, at
yes,
some point we have to trust the process of law, because otherwise this is endless. Everybody will bring their subjective interpretations to a verdict and impute motives to the judges. This can be done
that's it.
endlessly. Everybody has a political background. Everybody has an ideological background. We've just seen a similar debate over the elevation of Victoria Gauri in
Yes,
Tamil
yes.
Nadu. So this is
So I
how
can
do
say
we,
that
yeah.
nobody comes with a clean slate. Something is already written in his mind. Somebody has a particular philosophy. Therefore, to
Yeah.
rule out all these post-trial benefits, one has to go by the seniority, and it should not be out of turn. Nobody should be given even this kind of post. As I said, I repeat again, and I do not elaborate it again. But what
Okay.
I said is, I believe it.
Okay, Ashutosh ji, please come in on this. You spoke about how actually Mr. Justice Nazir may even be made for better things. Premila Nisargi echoes you.
Yeah.
But how do you address the perception of a conflict of interest when you see the kind of high profile judgments that Justice Nazir was involved in, demonetization, Ayodhya, Ram Mandir, triple talaq, where he dissented, by the way. Again, I want to
Yes.
underline. Go ahead,
So
Ashutosh.
this is itself answers when he dissented during triple talaq issue. So he had his own opinion, but yes, since the majority went in favor of it, so obviously the judgment came like that. So obviously that is something we should not question him. And we have seen in the past also, if we consider Justice Satyasivam, who was the Chief Justice of India, he was made the governor of Kerala. We have no any black spot or any remark against
Yeah.
him. He has done so well, and being such a person of high knowledge, integrity, and everything, he has really done well being the governor. And who did it? See, Article 155, talks about the appointment of governor, and that should be done by the President of India. The President of India has the powers to appoint the governor. So what happened in 2014 when Justice Satyasivam was appointed as the governor? At that time, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, who was the president of this country, he appointed. And we cannot say that he was of this political party or that political party. We can only say that the president, whoever was there at that time,
Yes.
appointed, and was a good decision. Accordingly, now when the same thing is happening now, then what is the issue? We should give
And I think
opportunity.
Pranab Mukherjee is a great example of someone who virtually
Absolutely,
ran the
absolutely.
Congress government. Yeah.
We know him as a very good president, not as a person who belonged to which political party. So similarly, now when the president has taken her stand in appointing him as per Article 155, 157, which describes the qualification of a person to become the governor of a state, and he is qualified so far as our constitution is concerned. So here
Okay.
we are saying that the constitution allows anybody who is above 35 years age and being the citizen of this country, and that he is not holding
Okay.
any office of
So you're
profit, or is not
saying
a member of
there's no
parliament or legislature.
yeah, I think the
So,
point you're making is,
so,
unlike Justice
so
Shivam, there's no other controversy around Justice Nazeer.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So
Yes,
let
so
me
it is a
yeah,
tried and tested method what has been followed. A well trusted, a well knowledgeable lawyer, or the Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge who has served the country in the best manner. If that person is given an opportunity to serve the country further, I think
okay.
it should be
Let
welcomed.
me let me get Sanjay and Premila to come in with last comments. But before that, an excerpt from Justice Nazeer's own farewell as he left the Supreme Court. Listen.
Finally, I end with a shloka that relate most with me. धर्मे सर्व प्रतिष्ठम तस्मद् धर्म पर वदन्ति धर्म एव हतो हन्ति धर्मो रक्षति रक्षितः. It means that everything in this world is founded on dharma. Hence, dharma is the ultimate supreme. Dharma destroys those who destroy it, and dharma protects it. Thank you. Jai Hind.
So, Sanjay, are you willing to grant Justice Nazeer an opportunity to follow his dharma? Is, I think, what he would say. Go ahead, Sanjay. Last comment.
Yeah, Barkha, two short points. Number one, you can kindly verify it, but I have read it in a newspaper report today that one of the issues against Justice Nazeer was he even attended a lawyers forum of the RSS when he was the sitting judge. Kindly investigate that, number one, which I think is very inappropriate, a public appearance in a very religious, theocratic organization that runs India's politics. Number two, and very critical, I don't think we can ignore what the Collegium of the Supreme Court said on their own, that there is a problem within the Supreme Court. There are fault lines, there are fissures, and there are frailties that the four judges of the Collegium publicly mentioned. So for us here to assume that people are, everyone is dyed in some kind of purity of running water, I think they are being extremely presumptuous.
But
I think
Sanjay,
Mr.
may I
Mr.
remind you
Pandya,
about RSS meetings? I don't know about Justice Nazeer, but Pranab Mukherjee also famously did go
fair enough.
across the ideological trenches and
Yeah.
meet with the RSS. So I just wanted to remind you of that.
But just
Yeah.
a short point. I will
Yes.
agree with Mr. Pandya, who I think has made a very reasonable argument. I would like to make 2 points. I
Yes.
believe that there must be at least a minimum cooling off period, so that there is, for example, you may have given a verdict in favor, perceived to be in favor of X dispensation, By the time the cooling off period ends, there may be another dispensation and you may not get the rewards for it. That will destroy the quid pro quo argument. Number two, what he rightly mentions, even if there is a case to recognize talent, there has to be a certain seniority. So even there, nobody can necessarily manipulate a verdict against a future appointment. That's my big.
Okay. I do have to close, Premila ji, since we can finally see your face. I think I must allow you a brief comment in the end. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm surprised, previous speaker. So today only we have seen the collegium appointing 2 judges overlooking the seniority in our own High Court in Karnataka. What does he mean by why should we not fight there? Is it not a thing that you should have fight 5 lady judges who are yet to be elevated in our High Court were bypassed? They were not elevated. Merit. That's why Mr. Nazeer is by merit. Seniority does not come into play there. When collegium comes, they say it's only merit. Mr. Sanjay Hegde, please think of merit. Otherwise, you will be not doing justice. Fight the collegium and say, appoint the judges according to the merit and seniority. Then we won't have any fight. But you can't have one yardstick for the appointment of judges and another yardstick for the appointment of governors. Kindly, all the people I want to say, please have one way. You can't discriminate one for one appointment.
Barkha, I need to make a point. Since the distinguished lady is really kind of ranting against me today, may I remind her, madam, you have a situation where your law minister is threatening the basic structure of the constitution and you're not appointing judges and you're giving moralistic lectures here. I mean, for God's sake, look in the mirror, madam.
We'll fight everywhere, not only here. Wherever the injustice is done, we'll fight. We'll support Rijiju wherever he's been fighting for eradicate the injustice. Be it the collegium, be it the judiciary, be it anywhere in the world. We are going to fight. We want you also to join us.
Okay, this is now becoming a political fight. I think the lawyers don't want this conversation to be overtaken by politics. But one thing I have to say, the courts of India, the judiciary is the most exciting place to be right now. Whether it's news stories or the headlines of the day, they all come out of the courts and they keep us all on our toes. So you guys are, those of you who are lawyers are really in the hot seat, as it were, in the place of all the action. Thank you so much, Premila ji, Sanjay ji, Ashutosh ji, and Asim Pandya ji. Thank you, and to our audience, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.